All right, what is up, everybody? Hey, so happy to be doing Colts videos on this channel. If you are new to this channel, we're Lions fans. I'm just going to go ahead and admit it, but hey, they're both a shade of blue. And we love talking about teams that the national media kind of ignores. And we feel like the Colts are one of those small market teams that same thing happens. But man, oh man, you bleed blue. You love your team. And we love talking about your team. So let's do it right here. They waste no time making some moves or at least making changes. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and say, because the trade deadline's coming, we'll see if they make a move by the end of it. I'm going to say that, yes, they're wasting no time fielding calls after difficult loss, but also they don't need to. And that's what this video is going to be about. Yes, there are trade deadline rumors. They are in talks, they say, with Seattle for Tyreek Woolen, who would be a good change of pace in the backfield. But this is a team, yes, that has been decimated by injury in the back end on defense. We understand that. It hasn't been great. There have been issues. But this is also a defense that doesn't rely solely on their defensive backs. They actually rely very heavily on their defensive line to have success. That is the strength of this team, and that strength has stayed largely intact and only gotten better as the season has gone on. But what I want to talk about in this video is talking about how you should not be worried about your quarterback after one bad performance. This, some will say, was a game where he went back to what he used to do. I'm going to go ahead and say no on all that. I'm also going to talk about your defense and how I don't even think you need to make drastic changes on that. So while they're wasting no time making calls, right, as you can see here, I have this one pulled up. All right, Colts floated as trade spot for Pro Bowl corner boldly. All right, for Tyreek Woolen. They've been in talks with other people as well. All right, Trey Hendrickson. Names have been matched with Indy, like Trey Hendrickson, Bradley Chubb, Logan Wilson are just a few, but others have surfaced, even if highly unlikely. Here's the thing. We're hearing that the Colts are making calls all around the league. So, yes, they are trying to make moves. But I'm here to tell you, I don't think they have to. Let's start on the offensive end. All right? Here's one thing that we know. Jonathan Taylor could not get going. Weeks 1 through 8, he averaged 18 attempts for 106 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. The Steelers said, no, we're not going to let you get going today. And that is famously what the Steelers like to do. It's similar to what the Patriots did under Belichick. That's what Tomlin likes to do. He likes to take away your biggest weapon, just fully take it away. He did that here. The offensive line could not do enough to get Jonathan Taylor going. They couldn't. All right, so that already is going to put your offense in a difficult spot. Now, with all of that being said, Daniel Jones still threw for over 300 yards, 342 actually. Now, he had 3 interceptions. He had 2 fumbles. But here is the thing that I actually found to be the most unique about all that. When you look at how those happened, yes, he threw interceptions. Yes, he had 2 fumbles. But he didn't give an indication or an inkling in any way, shape, or form through the first 8 weeks that those issues would pop up this week. They didn't. Okay? And each of those 5 giveaways were different. They were different. And when I was watching this game, my major thought, yes, if you separate them, there can be a large amount of frustration when somebody is turning the ball over regularly. I've told you we're Lions fans. There was a game last year where Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. He didn't throw 5 interceptions, I don't think, the other 16 games combined. Sometimes you have an outlier, all right? And in that game, when Jared Goff was throwing the interceptions, he was throwing them like they were his mistakes. In this game, you had ridiculous plays from T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith generating their strip sacks coming out of seemingly nowhere. That is why T.J. Watt is one of the highest paid players that's not a quarterback. All right. He is a top 3 or 4 paid defensive end in this league. I have to think. I think he was number 3, but he just became number 4 with the signing of Aiden Hutchinson. And he was paid the most at the time. He is a very good player. That is what he is paid to do. All right. Peyton Wilson. All right. He looked like he was following Taylor in coverage, and he was going in the flat before going and jumping back to his right. All right. Because Taylor chipped Watt before the release, Wilson wasn't sprinting out of what would have been a Jones throwing lane. Instead, he kept his eyes there, and he stayed in it. All right? Steichen himself said the one where the guy dropped out underneath Wilson made a good play. He credited Wilson. The next interception came when Wilson leapt and tipped a pass intended for wide receiver Michael Pittman. That tip then fell into the waiting arms of outside linebacker Jack Campbell. Tip balls get picked. Look, I do put the Wilson interception on Jones. You got to give him one of the 2 fumbles. I get it. But I'm not putting all 5 of his turnovers on him. 3 of them, I would say, were like, all right, hand it to the defense, or that's a fluke. Like, these things happen. Balls get batted in the air. Balls get stripped. That happens. So, no change needed on the quarterback. Everybody relax. It's no big deal. The next one that I thought was very, very interesting. The Colts, if you look here, the Colts held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 3.7 yards per play and just 225 yards of total offense. Okay. To hold a team to 225 yards of total offense is remarkably difficult. To hold a team to 225 yards of total offense while committing 5 turnovers is borderline impossible because you're putting them in advantageous situations, but also you're just giving them more opportunities. And so to see what they did, this talk about, hey, we're going to go trade, we're going to go do this. Sure, you can do that. And if you want to make your team better, that's fine. You have draft capital. Like, you can do those things. It's not necessarily needed. Again, trade deadlines are unique. They're unique. I think so often we view the trade deadline as we must do this. We must get a guy, and he will be an immediate impact player for our team because he's a proven NFL player. It's not how it works. When you go into a new team, a new city, a new coaching staff, a new scheme, all those things, even the most veteran, best players take multiple weeks to get used to that situation. Most players take about half a year. And that's the thing about the trade deadline. It's halfway through the year. And so when we look at it, if you don't make a move today, depending on when you're watching this, don't be upset. This is a team that's ready. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you like the Colts coverage. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. If you're still listening, it must be all right because I've been talking for 8 minutes and 24 seconds. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.